Now we are moving towards the question about adventure. Earlier, we have discussed the question in the previous video about ideas to go in your free time, visiting beautiful places and traveling and tourism, newspaper, shopping, holidays, eating and food, reading, your town, free time, school, family, study, question about work. So all these topics are from the past papers of Ielts. And if any student would prepare these questions and answers, this would be really helpful for Ielts speaking part 1 and part 3 questions. So let's now move towards the next question that are about adventure. So safety and danger. So there is some spelling mistake in typing. So in what ways is life becoming safer and in what ways is it becoming dangerous? So I repeat the question, in what ways is life becoming safer and in what ways is becoming more dangerous? Well, the life is becoming more safer in the shape of the latest medicines and the cure for different diseases, and it is becoming dangerous in terms of the new weapons of mass destruction. And there are side effects of medicines as well. So ultimately, these things are making the life dangerous. And on the other hand, different medicines and different types of cures are making the life more safer. Should people always avoid danger, or is it good idea sometimes to take risks? Yes, I think people should try to take risks in life, because if you take the risks, if you take some sort of challenge, ultimately that would give you a great success, and you should if just avoid the danger, and ultimately you will face a lot of problems in your life. Do you think people try to avoid danger? Yes, of course, people try to avoid dangers because to face the dangers is always challenging. You have to face the dangers. You have to see the things in a different way. Recording. The next question is, do you think people take fewer risks as they grow older, and why? Obviously, people take fewer risks as they grow older because now they are well experienced and they understand what are the dangers and what are the risks, and they avoid such things that are dangerous for them, and they try to avoid such things as they have become mature. How important is it to have adventure in our lives? Well, it is very important to have adventures in our lives, because adventures are giving you a chance to have some expedition, a chance to have some special tasks for adventure. So they are really helpful for you. Why do people learn about themselves? What do people learn about themselves from having adventure? In fact, having adventure gives the person a lesson that how much capable he is, or what abilities and capabilities he has. So adventures are always giving you some lesson about yourself. So the question about transport, how did you come here today? Well, I have come on my car, and that was really good for me to come by car. So talking about transport, what is public transport like in your town? Well, in my town, there are buses and there is metro, there is orange train, and that is really good for the movement of the citizens for different purposes, and it is really a more easy and convenient way of transportation and moving around. How do you think it could be improved? Well, it could be improved if there will be more trains and more buses on metro, and ultimately the passengers and the public will be facilitated more if the number of buses or the number of trains are increased. Do you think people should? Do you think people should use public transport more, and why? Well, of course, people should use the public transport more and more, because if public will use the public transport, ultimately there will be less pollution if they will come in then our cars and then their own transport. Ultimately, that will increase the pollution as well. So they should use the public transport as much as they can. Okay. So let's talk about your house and neighborhood. Can you describe the house where you live? Well, sure, I can describe the house where I live. Uh, in the front of my house, there is a big gate, and there is a lawn, and there is a garage, and there is a living room, and there is a bedroom, there is study room, there is guest room, and there are a lot of sceneries on the walls, and it's all about my house. What is here to do? What is there to do in the area where you live? Well, there are a lot of things to do in my area where I live. Especially my area is good for jobs because it is a big city and there are a lot of jobs. And for recreation, there are a lot of hotels. There are a lot of parks to visit, so people can visit around to enjoy the beauty of these areas. What do you like about the area where you live? Well, I love the natural beauty. So the most beautiful thing which I think is the Friedia Park. It is the most beautiful place in my city. I can walk on the track and I can enjoy the beautiful weather around and beautiful plants and trees and the greenery as well. How do you think it could be improved? Well, in my view, it could be improved if the concerned authorities will arrange proper cleanliness, and there should be some more flower plants as well. So in this way, it could be improved much better. Do you think it is better to live in the center of town or outside in the countryside, and why? Well, in my view, living in the center of the town is much better because you are near to all the facilities of the town and you can move around very easily. On the other hand, if you are in the countryside and you have to travel a lot to avail different facilities of life. So living in the center of the town is much better as compared with living in the countryside. About neighbors, how many times you meet them in a week? How can neighbors help each others? Well, obviously I meet my neighbors on daily basis because I daily chit chat with them and we talk about different day-to-day life matters, and neighbors can be helpful to each other while exchanging some day-to-day usage things, and this would give them more ease if they will do sharing with each other. What is good in living in your house? Well, living in my house is really good because it is quite convenient, and it has a spacious courtyard, and there are big rooms, and all the things are really good for living. Will you recommend the area in which you live to other people too? Well, of course, I would recommend the area where I live because it is very calm and moderate area. People are mostly educated and it is quite peaceful and neat and clean city. Let's talk about shopping. What typical things can visitors to your country buy? Well, there are typical traditional things that can be bought by a visitor to my country, and people visit my country whenever they want to get more and more happiness, because my country is having variety of things like traditional clothes, and there are traditional buildings as well. What things do young people like to buy in your country? Well, in my country, people like to buy uh, traditional things, and in my country, in Sialkot, there are sports goods that is very popular in all around the world. Money. Is it a good idea to save money, and why? Well, obviously, it is good idea to save money, because you can save the money for your difficult times, and it can give you a lot of convenience if you manage the money for some difficult times. Do you think that people are happier if they have money, and why? Yes, sure. People are happier when they have money, because in this way they can manage all the things related to their life very easily, and ultimately the life will be more happier and easy. Let's talk about media. What kind of comedy and humorous program you watch on TV? Well, I watch comedy and humorous program like program ABC, program The Colors of Life. They are very humorous and very having comedy, and it is really give happiness to everyone. Difference. What's the difference between the paper media and electronic media? Which one has more impact on us? Well, I think both the print media, paper media, and the electronic media has great impact on us. But now, with the development of technology, the electronic media is having more impact as compared with paper media, because everyone is well aware on even WhatsApp, on YouTube, on Google, or on different media. So I think the electronic media is having more impact on us. What do you say about email address? Well, email address is the most important element, because you can share information, and you can receive different types of information, documents for your information, and this is really useful one. Will writing in the coming year be more and more useful? Yes, of course, writing will be more and more useful, because writing as a skill is really great thing for the people, and with the help of writing, you can express your ideas, your thoughts in written method. What music do you like? Well, I like simple music, because simple music is really good and comfortable. In simple music, you get relaxation and you enjoy it very much. Is watching TV a good way of relaxation? Yes, of course. Watching TV is really a good way of relaxation, because you watch TV and you see the programs of your choice, and ultimately they give you happiness and relaxation. Let's talk about sports. Which sports do you like? Well, I like football and cricket, because both are very famous games, and very popular games, and they are quite interesting, and really give you fun and joy when you watch these games. Is it better to spend people's money over water sports? Yes, of course, it is really better to spend people's money on water sports, because water sports gives people a lot of happiness and pleasure, and ultimately these are the people who are getting the benefit of these water sports. What facilities are provided at water sports? Well, at water sports, there are especially life jackets, there are boats, and there are different necessaries that are required for water sports, and people enjoy a lot while having these facilities. Is there some other sports you would like to try? Yes, I would like to try badminton, table tennis, because these things are really very easy to play, and people enjoy a lot while playing these games. Do young people get enough physical exercise these days? Well, as a matter of fact, young people are not taking proper physical exercise these days because they are busy. If they are students, they are busy in their studies, and if they are working people, they are entirely busy their working life, and they don't get the time for physical exercises nowadays. So these are the questions about IELTS speaking part 1 and part 3. And these questions will be really useful for learning and making good progress for IELTS speaking interview.